welcome back to my channel. It's Paula here. So this video is one of my favorites to do, even though I've only done it once. And I mean, if you're here, you probably know what we're here for, and that is what I realistically read while I'm on vacation. I am once again going to Slovakia to see my boyfriend. I'm gonna be there for like a week or so, and I am sure that I will be reading and buying some books. I am supposed to be leaving in like half an hour, but I definitely wanted to come here and tell you a little bit of my reading plans for the week, and especially for the planes. So you probably don't know, but I am currently reading one of the most challenging series for me, and that is The Lord of the Rings by Tolkien. I am actually, this is kind of wrong. I am like 25% through the second book. This beautiful edition actually has the three of them, and as you can see, I've already annotated the first one fully. But yeah, this is definitely something that I want to be reading throughout the week. I don't know if I'll be able to finish it, probably not, because it's taking me quite a long time to read this. But I definitely want to read a little bit of this, maybe get to book 3 or like volume 3 of The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. So that's definitely some of my plans. Apart from this though, one of my priorities is to read a novella in the plane. Now this novella is actually not published yet. I am a beta reader for it. So that means this is a first draft, and I'm just gonna give my opinion to the author and see if I like it, if there could be any improvements, things like that. So yeah, the novella is called Beyond the Blues, I believe, and the author has allowed me to share a little bit of it here, so that's something that we're gonna do together. This is my first time beta reading a book, so I'm very excited. What I know of it more or less is that it's a sapphic book set in Greece, giving Mamma Mia vibes. It's a romance, and it deals a lot with grief, so that's kind of like what drew me into it. Obviously, I've been in a state of grief in my era of processing my grief these past months, and for some reason I've been drawn to books that talk about grief lately. And also something that me and my mom bonded over a lot throughout the years was our love for Mamma Mia, the movie. So I am very excited to be reading this novella and see how I like it. After reading it, I have to fill out a form and, you know, tell the author my opinions and everything, and I'm gonna take you guys with me. So yeah, so far we've got The Lord of the Rings and Beyond the Blues. That's kind of my reading plans for right now, and then I'll see if I read something else while I'm staying in Slovakia, because I definitely want to read the monthly book peak of my book club, the book club that I'm part of. So I definitely want to try and read that before the month ends, and I'm pretty sure the bookstore that we're gonna go to is gonna have this book in physical, in a paperback, because I don't want a hardback, I just don't want it. And in Spain, the paperback won't come out until next year, but in Slovakia, they already have the paperback. So, a little bit of a ramble there, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So, yeah, let's go on a trip together. As you can see, I made myself a cup of tea, and I am so ready to sit down and give you some updates on my week. I feel like when I'm here, I'm always drinking tea. Okay, so I have my tea and I have some reading updates. So I'd say the first reading update is that I did finish Beyond the Blues, that little novella, while I was in the plane. You know, I'm finding it very hard to review these, mostly because, well, I'm a beta reader for it. It's not a published book, so obviously this is not a finished book and it's very much a first draft. I was so sad though because, well, actually, let me first tell you what the novella is and what it is about. So the novella is called Beyond the Blues, and the author, I believe, name is Ella Crockford. Because I'm hoping this is just coming out of my mind, so I'm hoping that's how you say her name. I actually saw this TikTok where she kind of like explained a little bit the concept of her book, and she was asking for beta readers, and I was like, I love the concept of this book, so let me hit her up. And that's how I ended up being a beta reader for this book. It ended up being shorter than she expected, so it's sitting right now at a novella length. And I feel like that is doing kind of a little bit of a disservice to the book. And I feel so bad because the concept was so good. The concept was about this girl who is grieving because her best friend, like the person that understood her the most in this world, she passed away. And something that they bonded over was Mamma Mia, and how they both loved that movie and how they both dreamed to go to Greece someday. But obviously her best friend passed away and she decided to do this for herself and for her. So she decides to go on a trip to Greece. And during the trip, she meets someone that used to go to the same college as them. And obviously this romance ensues. But I was just very, very excited for the whole Greece, Mamma Mia vibes, dealing with grief, but also finding love. The concept just sounded so good, so good. And I just feel bad because I felt like once I read the novella, I just didn't really have an emotional connection with the characters. They felt unfortunately very two-dimensional, and I think a lot of it might be because of how short the book was. And if we had had more about them, just more about them individually as people and then together, it just, because it was so short, it just felt like it was not that believable for me. So that was a shame, but I still think that book can have so much potential. So I'm hoping she takes into consideration like all the feedback that everyone is giving her and see whether she wants to put more time on it or not. I personally feel so bad because I felt like I was just giving her a lot of feedback, not so much praise. And again, I love the concept, it just, the execution was just not for me. It felt very insta-lovey, not angsty enough. And I felt like if you're doing a book where you're also writing about grief, I feel like there's gonna be a little angst in there. So everything just led me to just not believe in the couple that much, and I think that's a shame because it's mainly a romance novel. But yeah, I gave her all of my thoughts in this form that she made, so we'll see how the finished novel ends up looking like. I will definitely leave her Instagram and everything down below so you can check her out. Even though that book was not entirely for me, definitely go and support her because she's a young woman trying to make it into the publishing world. She deserves some love. So yeah, that was my novellas. So one book down, kind of, during the plane. And then I picked up, obviously, The Lord of the Rings, and I kept reading a little bit of this. I ended up not reading that much. Actually, it's been a couple days. But I think I went into this trip with a 25% done of The Two Towers, the second book. Actually, I have this mark here, so this is the first one, second, and third. And right now, I've read until 31%, I think. But yeah, I personally think that my annotations are looking pretty good. Yeah. I'm just annotating kind of as I'm going by things that I like. There's some themes, but not so much. I feel like the most things that I'm annotating is I kind of want to delve into the purpose of poems and songs in Tolkien's books, because I feel like they're used in very different tones for very different reasons. So I kind of wanted to go over them. That's why I feel like that's why there's so many like green tabs, is because of that. But yeah, I am enjoying the Towers a lot actually. And so far, I believe I'm enjoying it more than the Fellowship of the Ring. Now hear me out. The Fellowship of the Ring is so beautiful. It's so atmospheric. I loved it so much. We can see how the Fellowship, you know, how the company gets together. But most of it is just walking and nothing that much happens. Don't get me wrong, it is beautiful. An amazing read. but not that much happens. It's quite slow, and I feel like we don't really get more pacing until like the second part of the first book, which is when they get to Rivendell and, you know, the company forms and everything. So now that I'm in the second book in the Two Towers, the company, the fellowship has divided. We have Frodo and Sam going off somewhere, which I still haven't seen because I'm 31% through the book, and we still haven't got any POVs from Frodo and Sam. But we are following the two other groups that formed out of the company, which one is Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. Which, let me tell you, I mostly was enjoying the things in the company that regarded to Frodo and Sam. I was not giving that much attention to Legolas and Gimli, but starting the second book, I am having so much fun with those two. I think their friendship is so cute, and Gimli being an absolute simp for Galadriel is so funny to me. It is so funny. Yeah, so we are reading about them, and then in the other side we're also reading about Pippins and Merry, because they were kind of like, they also went off at the end of the Fellowship of the Ring. And let me tell you, because I think I read my favorite chapter of the whole two books that I've read so far, and that is chapter 4, Treebird. I may be in love with Treebird. It feels like such a beautiful creature in my mind. I love it so much, and everything that was described and explained in that single chapter made me feel so happy inside. So yeah, that happened. I'm very much enjoying the Two Towers, and I think for now it's my favorite. I feel like I haven't even reached half of it, but I already prefer it over the Fellowship of the Ring. I feel like, again, the Fellowship of the Ring is more atmospheric, but there is much more that's happening in the Two Towers, so I'm enjoying that a lot. Also, I am saying all of this, I have not watched any of the films, okay? I was kind of waiting until I finished the whole trilogy to start watching, like, I don't know, do a marathon of the movies. So I say all of this without having ever seen the movies. I feel like that's an important fact. So yeah, those were my updates, my reading updates. So yeah, let's talk about the rest of the day. I'm gonna go later to the bookstore, which I feel like I've said it before, it's one of my favorite bookstores, and I'm there with a goal. I want to get the book that we were reading for the book club that I'm in. I have not read it, and we're in the last week of September, so I definitely need to read it. We're gonna get that today, and then I am hoping that we will have the announcement for the October read for that same book club, so I can also get it. It has to be between now and the next few hours, so please, I'm hoping they'll come through. So yeah, I have those two books that I want to get. One of them is still unknown for me, and then we'll see if there's anything other interesting. I do have a book that I kind of want to get if they have it, but if they don't have it, it's okay. I hope you're enjoying the video so far, and I'll see you later. So it's the next day, and I have some updates for you. Well, more like one reading update and then some bookstore updates, I guess you could say. Just, I have a mini haul for you guys, because I ended up getting more than one book. Oh well. So let's start first with the mini haul, and then I can talk about my reading, because I started reading the book that I got. Okay, so the first book and the book that I went there to the bookstore for is Lady Macbeth, which I feel like I like the US cover better. It looks prettier in my eyes, but also I feel like this one fits the vibe much better. I'm not sure. I already started, I'll talk a little bit about it, but this is the book that we were reading in September for the book club that I'm in, and it's in the last week of September. Yes, I'm gonna finish this soon, okay? I'm gonna finish it before October 1st. So, this book is supposed to be a retelling of Macbeth. I feel like the synopsis can be a little bit misleading because I've heard a lot of people say that this is not a retelling of Macbeth from Lady Macbeth's point of view. It's more like a inspired tale or a non-canon fanfiction. I really heard like one specific TikToker saying that this was a non-canon fanfiction of Macbeth. Yeah, it's about Lady Macbeth, but not our Lady Macbeth. Supposedly, I have some thoughts on that later, but this is the first book that I got in the bookstore. Then the other book that I was there hoping to get is Graveyard Shift by Emil Rio. This actually came out a couple of days ago and I'm so excited that I got it. They didn't even have it on the shelves yet. They had it like in the storage and I had to ask like, hey, do you have this? Because your website says that you do. And she was like, let me a second. And she was asking the other person and the other person was like, yeah, we haven't even put them out. We got them like yesterday. I was like, I am so sorry. But here it is. I'm so excited. I read If We Were Villains 2 years ago. I feel like it feels so wild that it was 2 years ago, but I read it in 2021. Wait, so it's been 3 years, no? Damn, that's rough. Anyway, If We Were Villains was one of the first books that I read once I was starting to get back into reading. Like, I read sporadically here or there, but this is the time where I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and read one book per month. I think I read If We Were Villains in October of 2021, and I really liked it. I didn't say with Lady Macbeth, but this is important. Macbeth is the only Shakespeare play that I've actually fully read completely, and not just an adaptation, like the full like text, which was very hard because Old English is hard for me. But yeah, it's the only one, and I did quite like it. That's why I was so excited to pick up Lady Macbeth. But yeah, so seeing like Shakespeare plays in that book made me really like it, and I am hoping like this is a goal for the future, not right now, but for the future. I want to try and read all of the Shakespeare plays that are mentioned If We Were Villains, and then reread If We Were Villains, because I think that's gonna make the experience much better, because I really did enjoy like the Macbeth aspects of like that specific part where Macbeth is involved in the book. So yeah, now Graveyard Shift is actually the October pick for the book club that I'm in, which is so funny that I got the September book and the October book at the same day. And I'll probably be reading these days apart because when I finish this in September, I'm gonna start this like probably straight away October 1st. We'll see, but that's the goal. I think it's about 5 people that have like late night shifts and they all encounter something in the cemetery. I have no clue what this book is about, but I'm very excited for it. It's giving spooky, it's giving October, and that's exactly what I was looking for. And also this is very short. I didn't expect this to be so short, but yeah, this was Graveyard Shift. And then the other book that I think I mentioned that I wanted to get if they had this exact copy too, is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I am so excited for this book actually. One of my favorite series to rewatch in October/November is The Haunting of Hill House, the show, the Netflix show. And I am aware that that's inspired and not really an adaptation of The Haunting of Hill House, but I've wanted to read horror for so long, and I just haven't found the one that I wanted to read. I want to read The Haunting of Hill House. Also, I've heard that Shirley Jackson is amazing at writing horror, so there's just something about haunted houses that I love so much. You won't catch me on one though. I am such a scaredy cat. I will run, I will cry, and I will vomit. I'm not good in like horror situations, but I do love horror movies and horror books. There's absolutely no science behind that. But yeah, so that's The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I am so excited, and also really wanted the Modern Classics edition because I think I said it in a video before, I want to start collecting these editions. So yeah, and then the last book, well, I don't think you can call it a book. You also cannot call it a novella. The next story, you also cannot call it a story actually. But the next thing that I bought at the bookstore was definitely an impulse buy, and the only reason was because I really wanted to read works by this author and because it was so cheap. And that is The Night is Darkening Around Me by Emily Bronte. I think I've said it before, I'm on this quest of reading all of the Bronte sisters novels, specifically the novels, because I think that's like easier for me to get into and somewhat rate or like give opinions on. Not so much the poetry, but I've heard that Emily Bronte is a great poet, and I thought this was a little, this was a good glimpse to her writing style before getting into Wuthering Heights, because I'm hoping to read that this year. This is just a little collection of poems. Again, it's not even 100 pages. You cannot, this is 53 pages. It's not a book, it's not a novella, but it's something that I bought at the bookstore. So it's just a little collection of poems, and I am so excited to read it. And honestly, I don't think it's gonna take me long. So yeah, also it was like, what, 4 euros? It was 4 euros. I had to get it. Also, it matches my copy of White Nights by Dostoevsky, so I'm gonna put them together in my little bookshelf. It's kind of cute. These are all the books that I got at the bookstore. It definitely gives spooky vibe. It's giving spooky season, fall, October, dark. That's definitely what I was going for. But moving on to my reading updates, because I'm on a deadline, you could say. I need to finish this before the weekend. And I started reading it yesterday. I'm actually in Act 2, which is The Thane of Cawdor, which is page 64, probably. Now, back to what I was saying about how you shouldn't go into this thinking that it's a retelling of Macbeth through Lady Macbeth's perspective. Completely agree. I did read a little, because I feel like I told you already, I read this play years ago. I loved it, and I read very quickly some of the act summaries because I just wanted to get like a refresher, even though I already know the story. And Lady Macbeth is such an iconic character. I feel like what we're reading here is not Lady Macbeth. I'm sorry. I am liking it. Like, don't get me wrong, I am very immersed. I like the writing. I feel like I am right there, like the spooky vibes of it, the sea, but like the dark type of sea, the waves crashing against rock. I see it, I feel it, I hear it. I am there with her. But I feel like as I keep reading and I keep seeing things from this character's perspective, I just feel like this character is just not Lady Macbeth. She's only Lady Macbeth in title. We are not having the same character here, but I feel like the same with Macbeth and Banquo. Macbeth here, completely different person. Banquo, completely different person. Like, these are not the same characters. I feel like as if someone took the characters and parts of the storyline and put them together to create a different book, a different piece of art. Don't go into this thinking you're gonna love it because you love Macbeth, because a lot of things have changed in this, specifically the characters. The characters are so changed in this book, and also like obviously it's also fantastical, so I love that. I do actually really enjoy that part. And the other thing was that it kind of follows the same events of Macbeth. Like, we have the three witches that tell Macbeth is gonna be Thane of Cawdor, and then he's gonna be king. So we get that, but we get that in like a different way, in different segments, and the reason to be is different. I feel like in a way that is orchestrated kind of by mistake by our main character, but completely by mistake. She's not trying to make Macbeth have power. She's not trying to convince him in any form. He's not trying to persuade him. She's just trying to survive, and she has a very small power. And I just feel like that is such a complete opposite to what our Lady Macbeth is. Like, she's not ambitious, she just wants to live, and that's it. She hates her husband because she was forced into a marriage. It even feels like Lady Macbeth and Macbeth change roles into this, which is kind of what people appreciate so much about Macbeth, is the fact that Lady Macbeth was like the villain. She's the one that was ambitious and wanted things, right? And it ends up influencing Macbeth and stuff. But I feel like in here it's completely the opposite. It's Macbeth being the ambitious one, and Macbeth doing things to secure his future as king, by himself with his initiative, and Lady Macbeth is just going along for the ride. So again, I'm enjoying it and I really like it. I think it's fun so far. But if you take away that it's supposed to be a retelling of Macbeth, this is, I feel like I said it earlier, this is a non-canon fanfiction of Macbeth, which I am enjoying, so that's not bad, but I feel like I need to give a PSA about this book. I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna keep reading Lady Macbeth because I want to finish it before the week ends. Oh, also, the Lord of the Rings. I'm putting the Lord of the Rings in a little bit of a back burner, again, because I'm trying to finish this book before September ends. So, yeah, I think those are all of my updates. I will definitely see you later. So it's been a month. I just realized that I have recorded so much footage and b-roll of this video, but I kind of forgot to do a final thoughts slash outro because that's when, I moved and everything happened, so I didn't really have a chance to talk about everything that I read during the week that I recorded this blog. So I'm gonna pop in, say hi, talk a little bit about those books that I read a month ago, and say goodbye, because I feel very bad that the video doesn't have a goodbye. So let's go one by one. In this blog, last month, I read up until 30% of the 2 Towers of the Lord of the Rings. I mentioned it in my catching up video. I still have not touched this book since I read it last month / in this vlog. I am still 30% through. I definitely want to keep reading and finish this before November ends and hopefully read the last one in December. I'm not entirely sure because I may or may not be doing some things for Christmas. We'll see. But yeah, I am loving this book so much. I really like the Fellowship of the Ring, but I feel like the 2 Towers is more up my alley. It has a little bit more action, which is something that I was kind of desperate for in the first one, even though I really like the conversations and the whole journey that the Fellowship went on, that the company went on. I feel like I just need a little bit more of action, and we're getting that in this book, in the second one. So I'm still very excited to finish it at some point. Then I don't think I showed it or mentioned it, of course, but I did finish Lady Macbeth during that week, which was great because I finished it like literally the last day of September, right before like my time was over for that book club. And I think my thoughts are still very much within the same line that they were in the last clip of me talking. Lady Macbeth was very atmospheric. It was very fun to read. I loved the romance. I thought it was very enchanting. I think that's the word I would use. I really, really liked that. And the story was fun. The only thing, and I think this is my biggest issue and the issue that a lot of people have had, is we were sold a retelling of Macbeth. And I feel like when you say you're doing a retelling of Macbeth from Lady Macbeth's perspective, we're hoping for this like very cunning woman, very smart, very sneaky, like a villain point of view. but what we got was an innocent girl that has so much potential and she's so intelligent, but she gets like basically belittled by men and she's sold to men. And that storyline was fine and I enjoyed reading it, but having in mind who Lady Macbeth is and how she's portrayed in the play by Shakespeare, I felt like I was expecting a little bit more of that villain aspect of it. But it was still very fine as long as you don't really compare it that much to the Lady Macbeth in the play Macbeth. While I was reading Lady Macbeth, I also started this poetry collection by Emily Bronte, which is The Night is Darkening Around Me. And I actually brought it with me to the Canary Islands because I really wanted to read it. Because I only read this much of it, I didn't read much, but I was loving it so much. I feel like a common theme in her poems is grief and death. So obviously very attracted to those themes right now. So yeah, all I have to say is I read like maybe 5 poems and I really liked them. But I ended up not reading more because I focused all of my time in Lady Macbeth. But yeah, this is a small update that I wanted to give you. I know this has been a chaotic couple of weeks, I guess, where I haven't posted and then I've been posting a lot, but then I'm posting from a month ago. If you're here, thank you. Honestly, I feel like at this moment, this is a work of love. Yeah, if you watched until the end of this video, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And if you like the video, please like and comment. I always love reading your comments and, you know, talking a little bit about books in the comment section. And yeah, if you like videos like this where there's bookish vlogs and people talking about vlogs, that's me. And I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. So once again, thank you very much and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!